Hey everyone, it's Fishslim with another question that's been asked me that we'll just do a quick video on. Again, about tuning jerk baits. Doesn't always have to be a jerk bait. It can be a crankbait as well. We want them to suspend many times as well if you're in a deeper water situation. But this is a question that I'm asked quite often. It seems like there's certain baits or certain times the water temperature that when you put your lead strip on, like this one has, that it takes very minimal amount of lead to the point of where it actually barely wraps or even touches when it goes around the shank. So what's happening is then when you're getting bites or catching a fish, many times the fish is actually knocking that lead off, and you're having to go through the process of retuning the bait right when the bite's hot. So how can we kind of resolve that? First, the easiest way to resolve that is start going to the hardware store and getting yourself some solder. This is lead tin solder. They have it in many different gauges. I tend to keep 2 or 3 sizes. This is the very thin size, but you can get that in thicker sizes as well. And then wrap your shank with this instead of the strips, and it's going to take a little more of it, and it's going to wrap itself around that shank, and it's going to tighten up and stay on there for you. But if you don't have this handy or have that yet, and you are using strips, then let's just kind of take a look at it. So we're going to use a piece of foil as if it was our lead. This is our example that they were talking about. You wrap it around and it barely connects. It doesn't really want to take much, and that's just going to come off, right? You get a bite, get a hit, and it's going to knock it off. Okay, so what can you do? Well, take that amount of strip that you know is working for tuning that bait. What you can do is then take another lead strip, use another piece of foil for an example. Take that foil, that strip that you took off, and lay it on top of that. Mark with your finger where it's at and double it in size. Now that you've done that, you come up to the top where that's at. If you got some shears or snips, clippers even, but you can cut that and just tear it off at that point. Okay, so now we've doubled the size of that. Now, what does that solve us? That's heavier than what it is. Well, basically, what you're going to do is now you're going to take that and you're going to divide this in two. You're going to separate it. On your strip, you can use shears for this at home. I do that. I have them already pre-cut. Okay, so now look what we did. Now it's a piece of foil not looking as great, but this is for an example. Now we can take that to the shank. And guess what? It wraps right around. And there you go. Now you can put that on there, and you're still going to have the same amount of weight. You just narrowed the size of the weight strip and lengthened it. And that will help keep that in place for you and through the evening, but continue to monitor that and test that to make sure that a fish are not knocking that off. But I do recommend anymore. The lead solder works awesome. Different size gauges of it. You can get it at the hardware stores. It's so much easier to even play with because it's narrower, and you can get that wrap on that shank and tighten it up, and it definitely stays on there a lot easier. But that's a way to resolve the strip problem if that's what you're using. Tie lines, everyone.